Okay guys, this is your ground series for brown belts, red belts, and black belts this quarter. This is called the Kimura Series. It's going to be a series of submissions and escape, submission, escape, submission, escape. So it's going to kind of going back and forth. So it'll show you some submissions and then allowing the other person to show how to defend against it and what to do to escape from that. And then we just kind of, it just will cycle. It'll make sense here. Okay? All right. So from here, we're going to start with Mr. Dillon in my guard. The first one, since it's called the Kimura Series, is going to be the Kimura. The Kimura. For whatever reasons, if my attacker puts his hands on the floor for whatever reasons, I mean, there's so many different ways you can get there, right? He was punching, right, and I pulled him down like that. That happens. I mean, whatever. It doesn't really matter as much right now. But if they ever put their hands down, that's the perfect time to sit up and do the Kimura. So you're grabbing the wrist with one hand, and the other hand's coming around and around behind the tricep so he can't sneak his hand back. So if I go like this, he can probably pull his hand up. So I try to get both. So I sit up, and this hand goes behind, and then as I come down, this hand goes over and then through, and it's going to grab my own wrist. Okay? So again, I grab the wrist. The other one's going over the arm, through this little pocket, grabs my wrist. At the same time doing that, I am shifting my hip over to the side. So I'm sideways. I can lock my legs here, or something like just hold their one leg up. I want this hand as close to his spine as possible, like this, and I'm just going to slowly start turning until he taps. So please, when you do this one, slow motion on everything, and then the other person tap your partner. Tap the floor if you have to, but the best thing is to tap your partner because I can feel that. Okay? Then it's kind of, think of catch and release, like in fishing. Okay? So now I get to practice my next submission. We're going to go to an arm bar from the guard. For whatever reason, he puts his hands here, on my chest, choking, doesn't matter. Okay? I'm going to cross grab. So his right hand with my right hand's going to grab the wrist. The other's going to grab the elbow. Backwards. I'm going to grab the wrist, and I'm going to crisscross over the top with the elbow. All right? I'm going to pull this arm across, and my foot's going to go on the hip. I'm going to turn, and this other leg is going to come high on his armpit. All right? I can push the head here while still maintaining control over this arm here, and I sneak my leg over. Pinch my knees together, and with two hands on his wrist, I'm going to arch my back and lift my hips off the floor. So that's the arm bar. He's going to take his arm out. So if that was, let's say I'm trying to do that, and I get to here, and he pulls his arm out. I would have automatically come across his neck, okay, and I'm going to a triangle. I'm going to take the opposite arm, pull it across. I want to get this hand reaching for my ankle and get this as tight to his neck as possible. Get this as high as possible. Other leg comes around, so my foot, this foot, lands in the back of my knee, and this hand's down. I grab the head, I squeeze with my legs, and pull the head down until he taps. All right, from there, we're going to go to omoplata. I release again. So he doesn't let me get this triangle by grabbing my legs, so I can't get that. I am going to push his head. I turn to the side. Notice my heel's going to drive to the floor. As I do that, as I come up, I grab his hip. Okay, and this hand's stuck right there, so it's kind of almost like the Kimura position. By holding here, and here's where I would crank on his shoulder. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let go once I get to here. His defense, again, escape, will be to roll out of it. From there, I'm just going to switch over, making myself heavy in side control, right? Then from there, switching, I'm going to judo side control. I take my leg, I throw it over, and I land in a low mount. Here's the finish of the series. Mr. Dillon is going to do an elbow escape. His elbow and knee meet. He pushes his knee up to his elbow. He does half guard, grabbing one leg, and then he turns and does the other side, pushes up my knee, and he reguards. All right. So let's move back a little bit this way, and then you can start the whole cycle over. So last time my head was facing this way. We're going to do it again from this angle. Mr. Dillon's going to do it now from this way. So some things that you may not have seen the last time, you should be able to see it now. So we start here. For whatever reason, I put my hands. He does Kimura. He reaches over, grabs, down, tap. We come back up. I put my hands on his chest. He grabs my arm again, just like we talked about. So the cross grabs. He pulls my arm across. He grabs my shoulder, my neck. He faces out. Leg comes up and over, and he gets his arm bar. I tap. Let's say he was trying that, and I get out of this. He transitions right to triangle choke. So he's going to pull my arm across, and he gets that position. Go ahead to get his foot in the position and over, and a choke. All right, let's say I was here, okay, yeah, and I get here, I hold the leg so I do not let him do the triangle choke. He's going to turn to one side, pushing on my head, and his heel drives to the floor. His hand holds my hip. So right there is where he would get that lock. Instead, he's going to let me go so I can roll all the way across. He goes into side control. So he stops me here. Then he just transitions to judo side control, and he gets back to the mount. And then we finish the series again with me turning. Okay, my knee comes up, but really low as I'm pushing my elbow. So elbow escape here. I get to half guard. I turn. I do the same thing on the other side, and I'm back to guard. We're back to square one again. All right, Kimura Series.